Okay, here are the notes on the election of 1800 and the Jefferson era. Begin with the election of 1800, where you have four main candidates: two Democratic Republicans, Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, and two Federalists, John Adams and Charles Pinckney. At this time, there's no concern for the popular vote. That is because you have the Electoral College. The electors are chosen by the state legislature. They meet in Philadelphia to choose who the president will be. No single candidate is going to win the majority of the electoral votes. The election results in a tie between Jefferson and Burr. The Constitution called for election to be decided by the House of Representatives when you do have a tie. On the side, you see the map where you see the electoral votes, particularly your splits between Jefferson and Adams. All right. Alexander Hamilton is going to greatly influence this election. Hamilton still has a lot of influence among the Federalist politicians. He dislikes both Jefferson and Burr, but he most distrusts Burr. Okay, he says Jefferson has some pretensions to character, but Mr. Burr is one of the most unprincipled men in the United States, bankrupt beyond redemption. With that, Alexander Hamilton encourages the Federalists in the House to support Jefferson, and Jefferson will be elected on the 36th ballot or 36th vote, and Burr becomes his vice president. All right, one of the key things that comes from this time frame is the Marbury versus Madison case, which it should be Marbury v. Madison, not VS, because it's a Supreme Court case. That's just a pet peeve. Anyway, so John Adams is appointed many Federalist judges between the election and Jefferson's inauguration. These are called the midnight appointments. So he remained at his desk pretty much well into the night, signing the commissions of these judges. This ensures that the federal government would be very strongly on the Federalist side of things. I have to know that one of the most important things that the president has control over is appointments of judges, and in particular appointments of Supreme Court judges, because they serve life terms. And so your Secretary of State, James Madison, is ordered to block Adams' remaining judge commissions. One of the new judges, William Marbury, is angered by this fact, knowing he's about to be appointed a judge, and here Madison is about to block it. So he asked the Supreme Court to order Madison to deliver his commission. Marbury used the Judiciary Act of 1789 that set up the court system as the basis for his lawsuit. Supreme Court Chief Justice at this time is John Marshall. He'll be very important in a few cases, who had been appointed by former President John Adams, is going to give the court's opinion. The opinion identified which cases the court could hear directly, and this was not one of them. He said this case should have first been heard by a lower court. So Marshall ruled that the Judiciary Act was unconstitutional and void, and this established the concept of judicial review. The fact that the Supreme Court can decide whether or not a law is constitutional or not. Okay, so Marbury versus Madison equals judicial review. It occurs in 1803, which is an important year for another reason, which we'll get to. Again, judicial review is reviewing decisions of other branches and deciding if it's constitutional. Okay, the West in 1800. You have three European countries who are claiming land in the West. Spain has California from San Diego to San Francisco. Russia is along the coast to Alaska. And then the British claim land in the region north of the 42nd parallel. Okay. France took Louisiana back from Spain in 1800, and Spain had closed the port of New Orleans to the Americans. Now, France in 1800 is rather interesting. It is at this time ruled by Napoleon Bonaparte. He wants to colonize American territory. Really, he wants a global empire. However, he is defeated in the West Indies and unable to invade North America due to the Haitian Revolution. To avoid hostilities, Jefferson is going to offer to buy New Orleans since it's closed by Spain, and we really need that port. So he sends a group over to France to offer to buy New Orleans. It ends up being that France, or Napoleon, is going to offer to sell all of the Louisiana territory because he needs some funds for some wars and efforts he has going on for his European conquest he's trying to achieve. Jefferson is very much torn by his personal beliefs with the decision of what to do with the Louisiana territory because remember that he is about strict interpretation of the Constitution, and in that strict interpretation, nothing says that a president can buy land. However, he is going to do the Louisiana Purchase. Okay, so Louisiana Territory is purchased from France in a treaty that's ratified in 1803. It is going to double the size of the United States. Again, the Constitution said nothing about acquiring new territory. However, Jefferson knew it was important to explore and know the land and get there first to claim borders. He's going to ask Congress for $2,500 to fund a westward expedition and contracts Meriwether Lewis to lead this expedition, and he chose a friend, William Clark, to co-lead it. Okay, so Lewis and Clark are going to bring a guide along with them. Sacagawea or Sacagawea, depends on who's saying her name, is going to be that guide. This purchase is going to cost less than 5 cents an acre at $15 million. It is a bargain of all bargains. Okay, so what Louisiana Purchase and the westward exploration is going to allow for Lewis and Clark to explore again this territory, get to know it, claim borders, report back what they see, what they find, whether the land is useful, those types of things. You also have Zebulon Pike, who's going to explore some of the territory as well, and Pikes Peak will be named after him. In 1804, you have another election. Jefferson is going to win by a great margin with that electoral vote. Okay, one other thing to note that isn't on your notes right now is that one of the reasons that Jefferson wants the Louisiana Territory is because he envisions this agrarian society, and in order to have that kind of society, you need land. All right, make sure that your notes are completed. We'll have them checked next class period. If you have any questions, as usual, you can email.